Hey everyone, so as the title says today, we're going to look at, I say underdriving, sort of underdriving. What generally is,
You're on a wet tyre.
I'm on a wet tyre, that's not good. Settings. So we're going to have a look at whether kind of underdriving, sorry, I'm getting to it. I'm waking my brain up. So we're going to have a look at whether underdriving these cars generally makes me a little bit quicker. Because last time I felt like we managed to unlock a fair bit of time, but I was doing quite a lot of sort of really late braking, maximum brake pressure initially, and then trailing off, a bit more like a Formula style car. But because I was braking really quite late into the corners, I wasn't kind of getting on the throttle as early as some other people that I've been looking at. So I'm just kind of wondering whether if I sort of underdrive the car a little bit more, let things flow, a bit more chilled on the brakes, an earlier throttle application, will that allow me to be quicker? One thing I'm already noticing is I think we have quite a lot of let's have a look at what conditions our last lap was in, because our last good lap we did in, because so this was our last good lap. '21 partly cloudy. I know we've set the same. I think we're about similar conditions. It just seems grippy, but maybe that's because I haven't done this for a bit. So yeah, essentially we're just going to try and get the nice rhythm, set some relaxed laps. We can try. I haven't done this for a bit. I'm a bit rusty. Let's see whether we go any quicker. Driving a bit more relaxed. As you can see, I've also changed the, turned my steering down a little bit, my steering's a bit heavy. It feels a little bit heavy anyway. As you can see, I've kind of changed my screen a little bit, in the sense I can see a lot more of my input graph on the bottom left, our throttle and brake inputs now, so hopefully that means I can sort of analyse what I'm doing a bit easier. Now look at that, so I triggered ABS a little bit then. I'm going to avoid triggering ABS because I think that's what you have to do in these cars. And ABS on that little graph is when you can see when the red line is your braking, but the yellow bit is when you're triggering ABS. I'm trying with this for a bit, I feel rusty. It feels fast. Try and settle in. We've done all the setup pretty much as we normally do. So I know I'm not driving amazing at the moment, guys. I'm looking at what my brake trace is doing as I'm going, just to see what's happening with it. Beginning to get a feel back, I think, already. So we are on the week 13 update, guys, of iRacing, which I don't really know if that's changed much on this car and track. I tend to not really look at it and just kind of go on and drive and see what it feels like, but maybe I should start looking, because it'd be interesting to know what sort of stuff they change. I think ultimately there's a lot of downforce still in this car, so you can, what I'm kind of gauging from these early laps already is that the kind of more formula style braking approach of like getting to peak brake pressure quite early and trailing off works fine in these cars, and it's more in the wet where you have to take more of a kind of a different approach to the braking, and you have to drive it a little bit more like you drive the Porsche Cup car, where you're really sort of gentle getting on the brakes, and then you sort of peak the brake pressure as you lose speed. That's more of a wet, rainy condition braking technique, I think, to avoid locking, and that initial locking when you stamp on the brakes at high speed. So I'm still going to focus on underdriving like we said we would, and try and focus on, that's what I was saying, trying to focus on getting on the power earlier in a lot of places. That was a bit too early because it pushed me into power understeer, but that's all started to tear a bit, and I triggered ABS, you can see. triggered ABS and I got the understeer, so definitely have to avoid that. I'm going to stop talking at some point, either just try and settle into a rhythm. My braking feels a little bit all over the show. Need to smooth that out a little. I don't feel a bit fast at the moment, but I guess I've been driving this car in the rain recently, so that's probably why it all feels a bit fast. To ABS a little bit then. A little bit there as well. Trying to remember not to start hustling for time. And remember that we focus on underdriving. Tiny bit of ABS then, but not much. So better throttle application out of there, but I attached less, and I'm pretty much on a par. underdrive, relax. Underdrive, relax. I'm gonna focus on driving more relaxed, guys, and underdriving it a bit more.
Get 65 left of the
So that was interesting. I didn't peak the brake pressure anywhere near as much. I triggered ABS a bit less on the first bit, but I gained a good chunk of time. Oh, that all went a bit wrong. That wall clip lost me a bit of time, annoyingly, but settle in. I think the plan will be to do 2 stints. That was quite slow. Interesting how I managed to. There's so much through that corner the lap before. Better. That was much better. I'm resting the steering a little bit. Force feedback strength. Am I making that harder or not? I don't know. I don't know. Feels a bit better. to avoid that dip on the inside. I do run a really, really stiff brake pedal, and I do wonder if it was a bit less stiff, whether I could smooth the braking out a bit easier, because I'm always fighting against quite a lot of resistance on it, but so I did lean into the ABS more then, because I kind of started turning as I saw on the brakes, but I think that's fine. So we've got that big bump there. Do a better run through here. I think there was a nice blend of braking quite late, but being earlier on the throttle than last time. It seemed to work quite well. I'm multitasking there, trying to figure out which way I can hit to change my tyres. And I messed up. I should have kept it for the straight. I need to be able to sort out changing my if I go, so from there I go down, down, down. So if I just hit the down option, hit, down, hit, then I won't replace my tyres. Down, 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 hit. Right. And I've set my fuel to be added. And from a very embarrassing moment I had on a race a bit back where I binned it into the pits. Let's have a bit more caution. Where's the pit entry line there? So I think in the new update, it's got a pit limiter, but we don't actually seem to do it. Still have to do it manually.
Pit box in 10,
Like that.
5, 3, 2, 1. Right here. All the damage is repairable.
So in terms of tyre wear, front right, which I imagine takes the most hammer here, the worst is 87%. So actually that's not bad.
Go, go, go!
Oh, that's a bit excited, isn't it? Right. So got a decent chunk of fuel. So when we pit again, if we do pit again on this set of tyres, we'll just put sort of 10 gallons in. So we're going to have a bit of fuel effect now, but right, really focus. Relax. No crazy stuff on the brakes. So underdrive and let the car do its thing. It takes a real lot of mental energy, guys, because your instinct is literally just to go to what you know and sort of like naturally to how you've always sort of pushed it, sort of braking quite hard and stuff. It takes a lot of mental effort to kind of try and break that habit in your brain every single corner, but let's go. 2013, I'm chuffed with that lap though. Didn't mean to go to first there, confused what gear I was in. This is a good opportunity to kind of really focus on the slightly more relaxed let it happen approach, because we've got a decent amount of fuel on board. So we're not going to expect super fast times. A lot of times come to us. Ooh, that was a bit of a mistake. This car is so addictive. I think I really need to start building up my iRating and stuff in these cars to get into some good GT races, because I bet they're amazing. That was maybe a little bit late again, because I'm compromising down the straight, so I need to just remember, bring that first corner in a little bit more. I keep playing around with false feedback. I feel like I'm just fighting it that bit too much. Smooth on the brakes, but look at the trace. There was that massive bit of time where I was not on throttle. That needs to be better. Say I had a rhythm yet today, but if I did, I definitely just lost it. Focus, Harry, come on. Zone in. Three out of 10, first corner. Not turning in a little bit too early. There we go, I don't know. Well, maybe the front right is beginning to struggle. With the tyre wear, or maybe just a bit of tyre wear and a bit of fuel, a bit of both. Maybe just me driving worse potentially. What a ponker, Harry, come on. Right, I think it might be time that I go and have a coffee, because I seem to have lost my head already. You know what?
Pit box in 10, 5, 3, 2, 1.
Oh dear, no.
Right here.
I wonder if that's going to put me fuel in. Don't think I really need that much more fuel.
All the damage is repairable.
Right, I'm not going for a coffee, guys. I'm going to ride it out. Get the brain back working.
Move it.
Right, 60 litres of fuel. So I had roughly sort of like 20% wear on the front right, so maybe that was a little bit to do with the understeer, but we've learned a lot from these cars so far, and one of the things is never be too confident on cold tyres. So it can still snap over bumps like that and bite you. So we'll build it up. Gentle through there, brake, cut that, tight to this inside one, need to go tighter to the left. With the perfect line, keep it in second, smooth through here. Obviously avoid those big massive cement walls that I decided to drive into last time. Good exit down here. Flow through the final bit. Nice exit. And the run to the straight after the final corner is a bit shorter, so you can attack that final corner a bit more. And we're nice and early on the throttle through there. Lift off through there because we're still not full at the temperature. close as we want to be to the wall through there. I like shortening that track distance into turn 1 is a quick way of doing it. Not quite using all the not quite using all the track on the entrance. People do a 12-hour endurance race of this by themselves. Is it the 12 hours? If so, that's insane. Oops. Didn't get that quite right, but never mind. That was a better approach. Had a much better approach actually. I think before, into that final corner, I was kind of like braking a little bit, then easing off, then braking again for the hairpin. But I think I need to probably make it more just one, sort of like one braking application. It's on 2017 anyway, which is still a decent time. And not quite as quick, but I'll take that. Sometimes I get a bit addicted to looking at the time delta. I need to just drive. Should got a lot of ABS into there. I wonder if I'm just pushing it a bit much. Well, I guess I'm probably, with the downhill and the undulations and stuff, you probably are always going to trigger some ABS into there, but a bit closer to the wall on the right hand side. Straight line on braking a bit more, get rid of some of the ABS. Solid lap, we'll take that again. First corner's a bit of a bogey corner today. If I try and brake a bit less, I feel like I get understeer, but then I attack it more and doesn't quite go to plan. This is where I think we can gain a decent bit of time. Smooth through here. Let the car do its thing. Close to the wall on the right. Still, I think maybe a bit far from it, but one thing I've decided I'm not going to do from now is I'm not going to change my field of view at all, because I know that messes with my judgment of where the side of the car is. So I need to sort of stick to this field of view. And just get used to it. And develop a good feel for where the edge of the car is that way. Still slower through there. And I guess we've got a little bit of fuel effect compared to our best time before, but that was slow. Yeah, because that felt really good on power, and again I was losing some time, so let's just let it come to me. Practice this section. Yeah, there's potential in there. If I really focus on hitting that first bit, the first right hand side, and I can then straight line down the mountain a lot more, I can see it. Brake too hard there. You know what, guys, I've just realised that I've kind of done what I was trying not to do, that I'm beginning to sort of brake harder and go into that sort of phase again of pushing, so I'm going to rein it in a bit. Braking points back a bit again. Focus on the throttle, that's what we said we were going to do today. Speed through the corner, early throttle application. attack the mountain more, but again, I'll let it come slowly. That was minging. That was really minging. We've learned and we've found a good bit of time in that last corner, that last sort of chicane, sorry, hairpin. Too much. Oh, that's better. Just rein it in again. Nice. Turn in before the crest, let it settle. Not bad, it was a better lap. I must have just absolutely aced that first corner of that lap before. I don't know how I did it. Well, this is actually, I need to go back and look at what I did, don't I? So I can replicate it, because clearly it was fast. Bit offline there, unfortunately. Yeah, pushing a little bit too much there. Rein it in again, rein it in. Yeah, I can tell the fuel's coming off. Like normally when you get to like 20 something litres it begins to feel just nicer and that bit more balanced. That's ace that last corner there. Nice. That was faster. Did trigger the ABS a bit, but throttle application was better. Overslowed the car a bit through there. I can do a lot better through that section. I know I can do a lot better through the whole lap.
You got about 5 laps of fuel left.
I wonder if maybe I'm downshifting a little bit too quick. I wonder if that's what's maybe unsettling the car a bit. A bit wide through that bit. Damn. Scott, that last hairpin was minging. Try to remember, relax. Right, on a par with the best from before, so that's fine. Ah! I need to adjust the gears, what I'm doing with the gears going to that corner. Take 10% off. 10% off, Harry, come on. Remember what you were trying to focus on. Keeping it in third seems to work better there. Think about gear selection, turn 1. Yeah, I had to have that sort of second jab of the brakes, but we're going to pit again. And kind of do a bit of a mental reset because
Pit box in 10,
the entrance was better.
5, 3, 2, 1. Right here. the damage is repairable.
Almost got some bodywork damage, I'm guessing.
Go, go, go!
Tyres aren't in bad shape. Right. Again, we're not massively focusing on lap times how we think about it. Just trying to focus on nice throttle technique, driving well and not overdriving the car. And next time I want to have a look at how much tyre temperature you lose in a normal pit stop. I don't feel like it's that much, to be honest. So I didn't hit the brakes as hard, but I still started triggering the ABS a bit too much as I turned in because I felt the understeer. Brakes a bit less, no ABS. I ran a bit too much speed into the corner because I had to have that second dab of brakes, but Probably too much into the ABS there again. I can rein it back. Got offline there. That's annoying. Trying to push it a bit too much over the corner. gone wrong, it's gone wrong. %, off Harry, underdriving. Okay, keep trying to remind myself.
You got about 5 laps of fuel left.
I might to end it on at least a bit of a better lap. Usage in gallon a lap. Need usage in litres a lap. So, into turn one then, I just thought, stuff it. I'll go for it. Tyre wear's a bit of an issue through there. I seem to have lost a bit of confidence. Damn it. What an idiot. Got damage. Oh, unfortunately, guys, I'm a bit... I wish I had a lot longer, but I've got to go in a minute. Which is a bit annoying. Let's go to lap 10. Oh, there is, you hit it. See what I did here? Oh, so I was on the grass. And I just, to be fair, that was solid. Watching this on the brake trace, I'm beginning to think, because in my head I was sort of driving thinking I need to be a bit smoother on the brake pedal. I got quicker during that corner, so there's a lot of time to find there actually. Right. Quite a decent lap actually. So that was my fastest lap, and then the rest of the time I've been trying to think, right, be less aggressive on the brakes, ease on the brakes a bit more and stuff like that, but actually that's fast. On the brakes, as soon as I'm off the brakes, smash the power on and brake quite aggressively. So maybe I've kind of answered my own question. I think in these GT cars, yes, you want to make sure you, because they are sort of heavier than some other cars, like your super lightweight single seaters, you'd need to make sure you keep the momentum going, keep up the minimum speed fairly well through the corner. But I think you only really need to do that really delicate sort of Porsche Cup style braking in the rain in these cars. I think in the dry, I don't know if underdrive is the right way to describe it, but there's just a lot of downforce and a lot of grip, so I think you can smash on the brakes quite hard. And then straight back on the power really quick. And basically just shorten the amount of time that you're actually in the corner for, if you get me. I definitely got a lot worse as the session went on, to be fair. This when I started trying to do my pits, yeah, it was this is when I was trying to adjust my fuel and tyres for pit stop. tricky to describe because in a lot of corners I feel like you have to be sort of delicate. Like in that final corner, you have to be very nice and gentle, sort of getting on it. But at the same time, you do want to be sort of aggressive and get that pressure on, get the car turned and power out. But the purpose of today was underdriving or not. And I think more so not. I feel like, for example, in the F3 cars, you need to keep, there's a lot of downforce. You want to keep the downforce running. You kind of minimum speed through the corner. You can kind of underdrive it and sort of keep that speed up. Whereas in these, there's a lot of downforce, but I feel like you can sort of hustle the car a bit more. Nice and aggressive on the brakes, aggressive on the power. Just make sure I'm not braking too late, that I'm compromising my exits. But I think what I found in that session was on a few times I was maybe compromising a couple of tenths on my sort of braking into the corner, but then I was only really gaining like a tenth back on the exits. So really it's just finding that balance between, yes, I'm attacking, but I also need to make sure that I'm sort of smashing on that power as early as possible. So yeah. So answer to the question, underdriving, not really. Just a lot of precision on the brakes and make sure you're never waiting to go on throttle. You always bang off the brake onto throttle in these cars. So yeah, so we have learnt some stuff and we were 201.3 in that lap. Which if we have a quick look at our... So look at our internet a second. Carry 61. What were we last time? 201.8. Personal best current season. We are 201.3. So on the quicker one, we were similar-ish track temperature. Lower usage track actually. And so for example, turn 1, we were quicker, and what did we do? What did we do different? To be fair, we were about the same. So blue's quicker. So better exit out the last corner. We braked a bit earlier, tiny bit earlier, but we're on the throttle. Yeah, we kind of brought our sort of like turning throttle point back. So you can see we got on the throttle way sooner there. And that gained us all that time up the straight. See where we gain the time here. More minimum speed mid corner. Bit of a longer trail on the brakes. As early on the throttle there. To be fair, here again, you can see we brought the turnaround point. So because we were just sort of braking that little bit earlier, we were able to sort of turn it around and get on the throttle like there sooner, which then gained us that time out of the corner. Much of a muchness. Section 4 quicker, although that wasn't actually our best one, was it? Sector 6, yeah, again, to be fair, slightly better minimum speed through the corner because we were braking that bit earlier. And we were just on the throttle a lot sooner in the corner. Which is good. The final corner as well. better on throttle, but similar. Awesome. So again, a good chunk of time. Essentially, we were still brake aggressively. The initial technique, the braking technique is good, but it was more about bringing that sort of transition point back, like bringing the midpoint of our corner where we're beginning to get on throttle sooner, like bringing that in earlier and on throttle quicker in a lot of places. To be fair, we weren't always in ABS, to be fair. Like, if we're looking at turn one there, bit of ABS towards the end as we were beginning to get the turning angle on. Only really in ABS. A bit there, a bit, yeah. Cool. Yeah, the blue line is what I was seeing other guys do there. So, like, for example, braking into that bit, I braked a bit sooner. I brake basically just as hard, but a bit sooner. But then I was managing to ease off the brake a little bit more during the braking and just on the power a lot earlier, which then gained me all this sort of my minimum speed. Blue was about 128, and last time my minimum speed was about 121. So just not overslowing the car as much when braking so hard and so late. Cool. Right, I feel like I've just babbled on tons and tons, guys, and it probably got a bit boring, but it's great learning, and this is how you learn. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. I think next time we're about ready to set as good a lap as we can and then finish this series off with a proper track guide. So yeah, keep watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do like this series and you're learning a lot from it, please hit the like, subscribe button and be notified obviously when I'm doing the next video. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.